Welcome to The Lift with Sheila Robinson-Kiss. Come on in. There's always a special place set aside for you here where you can relax, kick up your heels, pour yourself a nice, refreshing drink, and prepare to be lifted and soar. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, and welcome back to The Lift with Sheila Robinson-Kiss. Your Auntie Sheila is in the house. Yes, I'm back. Literally, I'm back in the saddle. I've been away for a minute. I'm in the middle of extremely couple important projects, like 15 and 16-hour days. That said, listen, have no fear. I'm always coming back to update you. Best of the best information and advice in the area of mental health, relationships, balance. This is The Lift. We've got it all. Listen, if you're enjoying what I'm doing, please don't be selfish. Share the news of the channel with your friends and family. So without further ado, I want to dive in to this message that was inspired by Maxine about just some specific intel about some key relationships I want, or I should say relationship types that I want you to really watch out for. Let me just read Maxine's note, and then we're going to do it like we always do, just dive right in. Sheila, I have so enjoyed your relationship series here on YouTube. I'm in the process of manifesting the relationship I desire. My pattern has been the toxic entanglements that you talk so much about. Can you say more about this? Thank you, Maxine. Well, not only, yes, I can say a lot more. I could really go on and on. You know, I have to tell you, I find relationships absolutely fascinating. And I'll tell you why, because each relationship that you grow, each person you encounter, you're going to experience a different aspect of yourself. That's what can make a relationship exciting, euphoric, or quite frankly, toxic. And Maxine asked me to talk specifically about what you want to stay away from and or take a look at and modify. I'm not necessarily a black and white person. A lot of people, their thinking is it's either this or that. I think we need to just come down to earth. Most of us are living in gray areas. So this is why it's so important to be anchored in your values, knowing what you believe, knowing the kind of person that you want to be in this relationship climate that we exist in, because it's quite nuanced. Okay, so having said that, I want to just lay out some information on three specific types of relationship energies and dynamics. Everything is an energy, if you will, and the more you know about yourself, the more you're going to understand what kind of energies are conducive for you, what you can flow with, or what you may need to pull away from. So I want to talk about abuse dynamics in a relationship. I'm going to talk about that briefly. Then I'm going to talk about really paying attention when you become so focused and fixated on a relationship, on a person, fixated, obsession, whatever. It's kind of, the lines may be a little bit blurred. And then thirdly, I want to talk about the apparition relationships, and I'll explain more about that in just a moment. So Maxine, as you shared, you're looking to manifest something amazing, wonderful, beautiful. It's going to be very important that you stay rooted in what amazing and wonderful and beautiful means to you, because the more clear you are when something that is not that represents itself, you can say, you know what, I think I'm good. I'm going to need to go the other way. Let's talk about abusive relationships. The word is thrown around. I want to give more context. An abusive relationship, as I define it, is any dynamic or energy or behavior that is inside of a relationship dynamic that pulls down. It's a lower vibration, mind, body, spirit, heart, and soul. The key word there is degradation. This may be behavior that puts you in a degraded state. Here's the nuanced part. That can be different from person to person. It's really not a one size fits all when we're talking about defining what you term as abuse or what feels abusive to you. Sexual abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, neglect, all fall under the category of relational degradation, internal pulling down of the spirit, when you're ignored, okay, when you're spoken to in less than kind ways, sexual abuse, forced, coerced, to do things you don't want to do, having touch, thrust upon you, a disregard in general for one's feelings. How are you feeling about this relationship dynamic? Let's go a little bit further. People who perpetrate the abuse, this is my personal and professional opinion, this is a personality defect. I truly believe that the person who is perpetrating the abuse, there is a chip missing in the area of empathy, in the area of compassion. And generally, this is someone who has been hurt and they haven't processed it. They haven't processed it. So whatever you haven't processed, whatever is still in here, you're only going to give what you have. So let's be clear, hurt people hurt people. You have a decision to make when you are a mature adult. How do you want to handle this? Some people, because of being compromised, they may choose to stay, breaks my heart, and accept that garbage. However, when we know better, we do better. Some people may choose, you know what, depending on what we're talking about, I'm going to give this individual an ultimatum. You need to get some help and support for yourself, or I'm out of here. It's, again, we're talking about shades of gray. But what I've seen more often than not, when people get themselves entangled into these toxic patterns, the person is generally triggering also something you need to work on within yourself. So it can be a good idea to get some distance, some space on that separation and look at, what has been triggered here? What do I need to look at? What do I need to work on? Because unless, couple interventions, the hand of God can step in and someone can recover from being an abuser. And generally, that's about the only way it occurs. Someone can also, you've heard me talk a lot about the participant observer, start looking at him or herself. I don't like what I see, make changes. And then by and large, I've seen people with abusive personalities what will change them is some degree of punishment. Something will happen, they're punished, they lose something, and in some ways they're forced to really look at making a change. But when it comes any other way than through the hand of God, which is change truly from the inside out, a change at the core of the spirit, you'll see people falling back into these abusive characteristic traits. They may be okay a little bit, but then they fall back in it, because really abuse at its center is a decision. I'm making a decision to treat someone less than, to intentionally attempt to degrade someone's state. And so Maxine, additional message inside of what I just shared is, this is why it's so important. It is vital to grow your relationship. I'm not a particularly religious person. You all know that, but I love God and the angels with all my heart and soul. And I try my best to live out that love and the messages and lessons that I've learned. The more you work on strengthening that relationship, when you see that toxic or negative treatment, there's something of a force field. There's such an awareness of the value of your life, the value of all life and all humanity. And so it's like, this is wrong. This is not for me. So there's the strength to call people on it, to walk away. How you handle it, everyone's going to be different. But what I'm saying, the abuse dynamic is something you need to seriously look at if it's anywhere in your relationship, because this is an energy that is generally global. It's happening across the board in a person's life and pervasive, and it keeps happening. And what you do when you stick around for that garbage, you simply reinforce it. So that's important to understand. I want you to look at any abusive dynamics that come up. If you say, well, Sheila, I'm in an abusive dynamic, I'm having a hard time. I don't know how, I've said it on almost every video. If you need to be strengthened, you just get into prayer, and the angels in the hand of God, they're going to give you your strength and your perspective. Believe that. They're going to support you. Trust me, I've been there. All these dynamics I'm telling you about, and one way or another, I've dealt with it. Been on, all sides of the coin, if you will. Next, I want to talk to you about relationships where there's a level of fixation, too much focus, too much emphasis, either too much emphasis on you. There may be too much fixation, focus on you, heaven forbid if it crosses over to obsession, or it's the other way around. You find yourself too fixated, too focused. You're not taking care of your business. You're not getting things done. I'm going to tell you why that's so toxic. That is inherently, if you just breathe and settle down and step back, that kind of energy is telling you inherently something is imbalanced here. There's something out of balance, because when a relationship is balanced, generally, I mean, you're going to have situations where one person they're a little bit more into it than the other, or it can go back and forth. Oh, I'm into her, I'm not into him. It can go back, but generally there's just a level of balance, and people are paying attention to the energy that's coming at them or not. So when there's this, ultra fixation, on one side or both, quite frankly, that's just letting you know there's an issue. You need to back up. I'm not talking about the euphoria that can come from a new relationship. Oh, we can't wait to be together. It's just amazing. We have an amazing time. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about where just your activities of daily living, just intrusive thoughts, energy, like you can't get other stuff done. You're just focused on this relationship. You're letting other areas of your life fall into neglect, other duties, responsibilities. You need to look at that when it's happening and back up, because you can be well on your way to a very toxic dynamic that impairs judgment. I worked with a woman. She was just so into this individual, and her sister is actually the one who reached out. I mean, she wasn't paying attention to her children. Work was suffering, the whole 9 yards. How can that be healthy? You know, how can that be healthy? You want to look at that, because it's dangerously teetering on something where you're further and further separated from your humanity, yourself. In any dynamic like that, you want to reach in, settle down, and bring yourself into balance, quite frankly, before the situation goes too far. It's just pointing to something that needs to be looked at and reined in. And let me tell you the nuance here. If you can't rein it in, I'm telling you what I told this woman. If you can't get a handle on this and get back into your life and your responsibilities and obligations, you need to let it go. You need to let it go, because this is something that's going to do you in. So there's your option. You rein it in, you get yourself together, or you walk away. It's just that simple, because that's a very toxic dynamic. Nothing good can come of it. And then lastly, Maxine and everyone else who's listening, I want to talk to you about the apparition relationship. Well, what is that, Sheila, and why is it toxic? An apparition, if you look in the dictionary, that's something is like a ghost-like figure. It's a ghost-like figure, which means, you know, are you here? Are you there? What's going on? And in a relationship, that's symbolic of you just don't know anything about the person. It's a walled off energy, you know, secretive. There's not that unfolding. There's not that sharing. All relationships are different. All relationships are based on different things. Don't misunderstand me. Every relationship is not about, oh, you know, sharing, caring, you know, long talks. I get that. But if what you're angling for is, yeah, I want a healthy dynamic, we're sharing, things are moving forward. You want to look at it when you're just not getting tidbits of their life, of information, where that's not going on. That's cueing you to a couple of things. Number one, that's a walled off connection or relationship. Walled off because they don't want you in those areas of their life. They don't plan on opening up those areas of their life. And it's something where you have to look at, what kind of relationship is it? What is your intent and purpose? And so a lot of that will dictate whether or not a dynamic like that is toxic. Again, there's all different kind of relationships, all different expectations in relationships. But, you know, I found that those shallow relationships, and sometimes that's what you're going for. Different times in life, I can understand that. I get that. If that's what you want, if you like it, I love it. But we're talking about walking in your truth and intention. What is it based on? And if you're looking for something healthy, full, rich, robust, an apparition is not going to do it. So much of what I'm sharing is about being honest with yourself. And then lastly, what I would say, you will know, I've said this before, you will know the tree by the fruit it bears in your life. Different people are drawn to different trees, if you will. If what is produced for you is fruitful, consistent, warm, satisfying, healthy, there, you know, you got a pretty darn good tree, and the fruit is sun-kissed and ripe and delicious. If the tree is barren, either rotted fruit is being produced, it's no fruit being produced whatsoever, then I'm a simple person. Then we know, is this a tree? You know, should I really be walking in this particular forest? There's just nothing nourishing coming from source, if you will. And sometimes we overthink it, don't we? Oh, yeah, we're going back and forth and we're getting too complicated with it. Just look at what's being produced in your life. That's how I do it. If it's just a constant, like, is there any God blessed joy here? Is there anything that is putting a smile on my face? Is there elevation? Is there warmth? I mean, you're looking for clues here. And when they don't show up, that's how you know it's just not something that's good for you. It may not be full on toxic. It may just be that this is not a good, fruitful situation for me. And that's okay. You don't have to go along to get along. Let me tell you something. This beautiful world is infinitely abundant. All of us are in a position to manifest, to be that which we desire, to attract, to open our hearts and lives up to the best that we have to offer. People say, oh, what I attract. I don't necessarily think it's all about what you attract. It's what you allow to take root. I mean, anyone could look at you and be attracted, but do you entertain it? Just because someone shows up or an energy shows up doesn't mean you have to keep entertaining it. That's why I talk about the relationship standards and setting those up for yourself. So I hope this message today, looking at these three specific what could be toxic relationship has been beneficial for you. Listen, I'm going to be back very soon with more. I'm so excited. My next book, The Busy Lie, is coming out June 17th. I'm going to drop a video about that soon. Spread the news of the channel. And like I said, I'm always coming back with more uplifting, delicious content. And I'll see you soon. Thank you.